leave it to you to turn a symphony orchestra into a wet t-shirt contest. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Take These Broken Wings, the most thorough and in-depth analysis of the television series Wings. I'm your captain for this evening, Dante, my co-pilot, as always, Mr. Craig. Craig, how are things?
Hoi hoi. The weather's nice in Tom Nevers Field.
It's always nice.
This time of year in Nantucket, it's always nice.
The people always have a smile on their face, and they're happy to see you.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that.
We just arrived.
As always, we're talking about the groundbreaking television show, Wings.
Yeah.
Today?
Sitcom masterpiece.
Episode 2. Around the World in 80 days. 80 years.
80 years. Ooh, it's kind of a play
on... Yeah,
See, it's already clever before you even hit play.
Very clever.
They're already talking about 80 years.
This is smart comedy, people.
Yeah.
This one's directed by Noah Pitlick. I think that's
great.
Noah
Noah Pitlick. He did like E.T. and Jaws and stuff like that, right? Jurassic Park.
He was great friends with Brian De Palma, I think.
Oh my god.
He actually ghostwrote Scarface, parts of it. As always, we're going to be talking about Wings, but first we're going to give you a little rundown of the cast. We got Tim Daly as Joe Hackett, Steven Weber as Brian Hackett, Crystal Bernard as Helen Chappell, dreamy Helen Chappell, David Schramm as Roy Biggins, Rebecca Scholl as Faye Evelyn Schloeb, Thomas Hayden Church as Lowell Mathers. Mather, yeah.
Shout out to Lowell, by the way.
And that's that. Now,
great cast.
Great cast. Now
this one has just pretty much just one guest.
Yeah,
like one other actor.
There's one other actor that joins them at the airport for this one. And we were saying that this one, there's no cold open. It just starts.
No, yeah, this one just starts with the fantastic classical theme music.
The brothers Hackett, they're already
the brothers Hackett.
They're already bickering. They're already in. They're
mid bicker, like mid argument.
And so Brian has come back to Nantucket Island. He's working there at Sandpaper Air. I always say Sandpaper Air. Rock, paper, sandpaper. All right.
Isn't a sandpiper like a snake or something?
I think isn't a sandpiper a bird?
I mean, that would make more sense.
Yeah. So they
have wings, titular wings.
Exactly, titular, and they eat fish just like Roy Biggins, but that's not a.
Oh my god.
So they're talking about change, because ever since Brian has, shown up
of the episode, I think.
I think so. Yeah. Ever since Brian showed up on set or showed up in Joe's life, the brothers Hackett.
Ever since the brothers Hackett were reunited,
he's been changing everything, and they're just bickering about furniture, and it's just kind of they're being a little bitchy to each other. But Brian, it just goes to show you that Joe is like very straight laced. By the book, he says regimented. Yeah. He says he doesn't want to be surprised,
right?
And that he doesn't like things in limbo.
He's like, you just need to be more like spontaneous. Brian says that, and Tim Daly's like. He's like, no, I like to be spontaneous. I just, I'd like it if there was a little bit of a warning beforehand.
Yeah, I just like to know in advance. They're talking about this, they're adorable, these brothers.
Very cute jokes.
And so as this is going on, Helen she's just freaking out. She comes in the airport and she says that she has a cello recital coming up, right?
Yeah.
And then Brian's ears perk up. It's like, that's interesting. So Helen walks over. If you guys haven't seen the airport, it's quite the sight to behold. Mm-hmm. There's the restaurant portion. That's Helen's area, her space,
it's her domain,
her safe space.
Yeah.
And so Brian's like, so you had a recital, or you're gonna have a recital coming up? Or she didn't get it. That's what she was saying. She has these recitals, but she never seems to get them. She never seems to be just right for the situation.
Yeah.
And, she's been playing cello for a long time, but something's the matter.
And then she waits for the callback and never gets it, or whatever.
Never gets it. So what does Brian immediately say? I think, Helen, you're a very, very talented woman, but I think you have a problem.
And here's it's a big but.
You need to show a little more leg. Some more cleavage. Perhaps. I'm not saying...
A little leg, a little cleavage on the high notes.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to be, or I'm not asking you to be the Marquis de Sade or anything. I'm just saying...
You don't have to show the man your pussy. I'm just saying... just
Helen has
cleavage.
She has a beautiful figure. She's been on this sleepy island town.
Yeah,
and you know what? I'm just saying that we were actually commenting that this sort of conversation would never happen in a TV show.
Like a TV show now,
where Brian or a man would just be like, "Yeah, just dress more sexy, and you'll get the guy's attention."
Not the composer. What do they call him?
The maestro.
The maestro is a man.
Yeah,
and you're a woman.
Yeah, and you're a beautiful woman. Like, so why not? Yeah.
And he's trying to tell her that could give you an edge. Like, hey, you want this.
He's corrupting sweet Helen. Brian is doing that.
He is.
I'm starting to see that. This is only episode 2. Joe comes over and he's like, "Oh, that's a bunch of baloney. Yeah. You don't need that, Helen."
Brian thought I should dress. Oh, Brian thought.
Yeah. Don't leave morality up to old Brian here.
Oh, Daly.
So, Brian is able to convince Helen. He's able to convince her. You need to change up your dress a little bit, Helen. You need to dress a little sexier.
Be a little thought.
Yeah, you need to be a trad thought. I mean, you already got it going on. You got that Stevie Nicks vibe going on.
She does have a hardcore Stevie Nicks vibe, yeah.
But you got a hot little body. You got a sweet little body. You're a hard body. And we got to throw you in a tight number. But you're a cello player, and I respect that. That's what he's trying to say.
Oh my god! Helen on that cello real good.
So Helen eventually gets her dress altered.
Yeah, she decides to listen to him.
Yeah, and she heads into Boston. She heads into the city
with her head held high.
Because she knows that this time not only does she have her merit and her her ability, her talent, but she's also very attractive, breathtaking. Yeah. I mean, she's a beauty.
She looks good.
Now
I like how Brian's just like talent never even went in one ear and out the other. Like he's not saying she doesn't have talent. It's just I don't even hear that.
Yeah.
That's not even part of the equation for me. It's is she just using her sexiness or not?
Yes.
Use it.
And that's he's brass tacks Brian.
Yeah.
So while all this is going on,
great hair.
There's another storyline. This is the side storyline for the episode.
Yeah.
There's this like kind of creepy old man pilot that's been hanging around.
Pervert.
Exactly
kids
right.
And stuff at the airport.
At the airport, and he's been there for a while. And Roy Biggins does not like squatters or people that loiter.
No, Roy Biggins that kind of that's kind of a good way to introduce.
Yes.
Or I guess I don't know that's how he'll always be, but it seems like that's indicative of
he's a curmudgeon.
He's a curmudgeon. He would notice after 2 hours if the guy was
the guy was still there, and he'd been there for 3 days,
and he'd be like, Roy, leave it alone. But this has been 3 days. Now it is fucking weird.
He said that he'd been taking a shower up into the bathroom.
Yeah.
And he said it was a French shower or a prostitute bath or something.
Yeah.
It was some very weird
it's always sunny joke.
Northeastern lingo. I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
I have a pretty quaint mentality, but that's neither here nor there.
Standing naked in a public bathroom.
And he's just washing his crotch.
Washing his nutsack.
It's weird that he said,
penis,
"Roy, my crotch smells like garlic bread."
Mm-hmm.
Is there something wrong with that? And Roy didn't even say anything. He didn't even wash his back for him. I couldn't believe it.
Oh my god.
Helen
hadn't made garlic bread in that kitchen for weeks, so they knew that it was coming from this man. That smell.
So Mr. Banks, the crotch or the old man that's been pretty much living in the airport,
perving out and lurking.
He's been perving out. He tells Faye this bizarre story where, all right, everybody strap in for. So this is the rundown.
My bad.
So the guy, he was sort of a pervert. I was getting a weird vibe.
I got a feeling about it. I was getting
a Scott Peterson vibe from it.
Oh my.
So he says to Faye, "Hey, listen, Faye, I made a promise to God, and I said I'm going to make this trip around the world, and when I finally get back to home base, I can die.
You can take me.
You can kill me.
Like
we all know that's how God works. Yeah,
he can't wait to slaughter you.
You can't wait. No, I want you to sacrifice. I want you to hit me with a lightning bolt so bad.
Yeah, he wanted to do this adventure so bad. He'd romanticized it.
Yes.
In his mind. So he wanted to do it so bad, you can take me. If I can complete it, that's all I want.
Yeah. And now he's afraid that if he goes back home...
Yeah, and he's like 50 miles or 80 miles.
Yeah, and so he's been, for all this time, he's just been playing a little hanky-panky, and he hasn't been going home, because he's afraid he's going to die.
Yeah.
And then Faye tells him the story, actually, I was almost in a plane crash, and I made this, I made a covenant with God.
Oh, yeah.
And said that I'd become a nun.
Yeah, and devote her life.
Devote her life, yes. But obviously everybody knows that Faye ended up in Tom Never's Field. So
Faye was a slut for the next 30 years.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
She definitely did not
the opposite. Her life. But to be fair, she did say, you know what? When you make those, and I kind of like this, when you make those promises to God, He knows if you're telling the truth or not.
He already knows.
He already knows. So
if he agrees to what you're asking him, he's already
he's already 10 steps ahead.
You were lying. He already knows. He already knows. Yeah. That's pretty wise.
Yeah.
Faye's got it figured out.
So back to the main story. Helen comes back, right?
Yeah.
Helen comes back from
her second audition,
which was
the final one, I think.
And she says that she got a call back this time. Or that she's for whatever reason she has to call back the maestro, and she's like, it was a success. I worked, right? And her and Brian's just looking like a he's fucking very cool guy.
Very is it smug? Like
he kind of.
It's where you know you're right and you're kind of gloating.
Exactly. Like and it makes it about 100 times worse that he has aviator glasses on and a Tommy Bahama shirt and a leather flight jacket.
The aviators, and he's like, man, she shredded, baby. She shredded on that cello. And he says, makes a couple, cool cat comments like
and
that.
Joe's not having it.
Yeah, and Tim Daly's just like, what do you say to him? he's all, who are you, Blind Lemon Hackett?
Oh, yeah, that was a pretty good one.
It's pretty ridiculous. Like he's some old bluesman or something.
So Helen's so happy she got the gig, or at least she has to call back the maestro.
But she is convinced.
She's convinced she got it, and say, hey, you know what? I tried a little bit of sex appeal, but I also, obviously they took me on my skill and my ability, and so she calls the maestro.
Yeah,
and everybody's like, oh, what do you say, Helen? What's wrong? She says, oh, well, they actually didn't get me to call back because they wanted me. On her way out, she accidentally scratched the maestro's car
with her cello.
And it was like a $700.
Yeah.
So she really did a number on the car.
On the car, I guess.
I guess. And she was a little heartbroken.
So she was. Yeah, that's like a humiliating.
It's very humiliating. All right, so then we do a little switch back to Mr. Banks and the Faye storyline. Faye finally gets the guy to say, okay, I'm going to go.
Her and Faye have, Mr. Banks and the guy have a crush on each other.
Yeah. There's a lot of
vibe.
They've been playing footsie.
Yeah, a little footsie.
And
there might have been second base, third base. They don't show it. Yeah, it's implied.
Yeah, Roy's got the pictures. If you're asking.
Oh my god.
Footy. Without footy, it's fiction.
Roy has the pictures.
So Mr. Banks, he leaves and he's not there for 2 hours. Faye's getting worried. What's going on? She thinks he actually died. God took Mr. Banks.
Yeah.
That's
right. That's right. It was only a 40-minute flight. And he'd been gone for hours.
And then everybody's worried, but Mr. Banks comes back and says, hey, Faye, you know what? I know how I'm going to trick God. And I love this idea in a way.
Yeah.
He says, I'm going to reverse the course I went, so I'm going to go
back around
the world.
So right now he's like 99.9% around the world.
Yeah.
He's 40 miles away from completing that. So he's going to go back around the other way to go to home.
Go home. And then he won't owe anything to God. And he'll be completely fine.
And then once he does that, over to his house.
Yeah. And and he invites Faye over in 2 years when he completes and she's like, you know what? Yeah, I'll be doing my hair that night.
Yeah.
Zap right there. Oh, that was so good, Faye.
And he's all, well, what about the next day? She's all be drying it. Pretty stupid.
And then finally we get to a little scene. It's at the end of the day, and Joe's in his office. Tom Never's Field. And Helen Chappell comes in, and she's in a
stylish 90s,
red
80s
robe, like a
little red Corvette, as Prince would say.
She's looking good. She comes in and she's saying, Joe, listen, I just need a straight answer from you. I need to know if I did wear this dress. Pretty much, she's asking, do you find me sexy, Joe?
Because she's like, I thought about if I play it classy or play it kind of sexy.
Yeah.
If I get the job, or if I play it sexy and I get the job, I won't know if I got the job because my talent or just for the sexiness.
Just the looks, yeah.
And she's all, but I hadn't considered what if I don't get it. Then it's like, wow, so was I not talented and I'm not sexy at all?
Not very attractive.
Which is like bummer.
Yeah, that's
like,
a blow.
That's kind of an interesting...
I'm sorry, Helen Chapel.
Like, story thing, I thought, yeah.
So she says, she wants
Of course,
Joe,
we all know the answer, Helen. Come on.
Without even saying.
Without a doubt, Helen.
Even now, all these years later.
Oh, yeah.
So Joe says, okay, well, he's kind of broken wings. He's like, he's standoffish. He's like, I don't know what to say, Helen. Yeah. We're best buds, Helen. You're a girl, I'm a guy. I mean, I can't
even
think
if
of
you show me,
I
couldn't answer.
And she's just like, whatever, Joe, you're a pussy. And she just
here's mine.
She just rips off
all
the
her
robe.
Clothes.
And she's just wearing
naked.
A nice little black number.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing too, a cocktail
she's wearing
dress.
A little cocktail dress.
Very fine, and she's very nice looking.
Yeah.
And Joe is stunned. He just makes like a moaning sound or something.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, I think she reacts.
One might interpret it as he ejaculated in his pants.
The vinegar stroke.
But
that's what I thought.
It might have just been he was stunned by her beauty.
And Helen runs out. She's like, oh, Joe, whatever. Because she almost is like,
she's like, yeah, thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
Like...
And then all of a sudden, we see Brian in the corner, who's with his cereal, eating his cereal.
Yeah, of course.
Staring at Joe, staring at the situation.
And Joe has taken like a second look, turned his neck all the way around to look at her, and then she walks away.
Brian goes, "Hey, Joe, maybe we can change some things after all."
Oh yeah.
The whole episode,
Brian was trying to get Joe to change.
Joe to start changing.
Yeah.
And so goes. My God, episode 2.
It was a nice little cap off. For me, one of the standouts I thought was Lowell.
Oh, in this episode?
I thought Lowell was funny. All of his lines were like pretty funny, and he was a lot like better utilized than the first episode. Helen was like funnier and more interesting, and
this was a much better episode than the first episode of the pilot.
Even Tim Daly, I was really bored with in the first episode. I thought he was like pretty weak. But in this episode, I thought he was good.
They're going strong.
They've got it already figured out. Yeah.
All right, everybody, we're going to prepare our descent.
I loved the joke where Lowell was like, he said, "Oh, you got a call from the maestro, Helen, and also I took a donut." She goes, "Oh, well, what was it? You got to tell me." "Oh, it was lemon filled."
That Lowell.
She's like, "Not the donut, you cocksucker. I want to know what the message was." I like it. Good job.
We're going to prepare our descent, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you once again. The entire flight crew is giving you a big shout out. Let's Spend the Night Together Networks, as always. Thank you for flying with us. Take these broken wings.
Make sure your seat back and tray table are in their upright position.
Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys.
Apologize. Fuck Faye.